Assalamualaikum. We meet again. Uh, Actually, it takes some time for me to upload to capture the next video. Okay, so no problem. So now we continue with our next subtopic in introduction of milling process. So now, as I shown in the previous slide, okay, in this slide you can see in the ball milling machine, okay, you need to use the ball milling media. Okay, in this picture you can see uh, we use the stainless steel ball milling media. Okay, so therefore for today I will cover the milling media and also the milling mechanism in milling process. Okay, for milling media, the most important point you should understand is the density of the milling media that you choose for the milling process. Okay, why I told you is that, let's say, imagine if you want to crush something. Okay, I give you simple analogy. How I want to say. Uh, okay, let's say kalau you all nak pecahkan ice cube. Okay, ice cube. So you need to something like hammer, which have more higher density than ice cube. Because kalau you guna density yang less dense than your ceramics powder density, so means that tendency your material or your ball milling media to peel off, okay, and contaminate the ceramics powder is probably high. Therefore, in selection of milling media, as you can see in this slide, the density difference between the density of ball milling media and the density of the ceramic powder that you introduce during the milling process is really important. In this slide, I give you few example of different type of milling media. Number one, batu kerikil flint or pebbles. In simple word, something like guli, porcelain balls, statite, high alumina, and YSZ. What the meanings of YSZ? Yttrium stabilized zirconia. And we also using tungsten carbide, silicon carbide, and agate. So this milling media, why this different type of milling media occurred? Number one is that you can ensure that the milling media that you choose in the milling process doesn't react chemically or physically towards ceramic powder. Okay, so in simple word, you kena pastikan bahawa the mold media that you use in the milling process doesn't react at all with the ceramics powder. Okay, and number two is that the density, and number three is the particle size, not particle size, the diameter of the milling media. So all these factors I will include in my next slide later on. Okay, now I just give you a brief ideas, okay, how we select the different type of milling media, particularly for different type of milling process. Okay, it's simple. If you want to use, let's say, if you want to mill aluminum oxide, you must use the milling media or ball milling media that higher density than density of alumina oxide powder. Okay, so now we move to the milling mechanism. Okay, maybe in your notes or you can jot somewhere, okay, why milling mechanism is important in milling process. Okay, so I think in this slide maybe you can put star or hashtag, something like that. So means that this mechanism you should understand and you need to explain well for milling process. Okay, for milling mechanism we have three different mechanism in milling process. Number one, we call it crusher or impact test mechanism, and number two is chipping, and number three is friction. Okay, if you ask me which one come first and which one come later, okay, my answer is simple. All these three mechanisms present simultaneously during milling process. Okay, means the crusher, the impact, the chipping, the friction will involve during the milling process. Okay, before I further proceed, where the crusher, chipping, and friction play their role. Okay, I go back to this diagram. Okay, where the crushing and impact play their role. Okay, in this figure, where do you think the impact and crushing mechanism presents? Okay, definitely, okay, in the area of impact zone. Okay, means that when when the ball media together with the ceramic powder reach a certain level of maximum height, and this ball milling media together with the ceramic powder will be fall and also impact again to the original position. Okay, number 2 is the chipping. Okay, where the chipping is appear, where the mechanism chipping is present. Okay, come back to this diagram. Okay, the chipping the presents at the before they're falling down. Okay, in this one, before this ball media was thrown by the rotation of the tumbler, you can see the chip ataupun serpihan yang produce, okay, akan jatuh, okay, will fall together with the ball milling media. Okay, the third one is friction, where the friction appear. Okay, again, in this schematic diagram, the friction appear, you can see here, okay, the friction because you have a lot of ball milling media used in the tumbler, so means that when the ball milling media contact each others, and in between, okay, there will ceramic powder that present, so means that these two surfaces of ball milling media will go through the friction process and will reduce or grind your ceramics powder. Okay, so you should remember this. Okay, number 1, for this milling mechanism, you should able to explain the mechanism present during the milling process, and also number 2, you need to understand how to draw the schematic diagram in order to explain crush and impact mechanism, chipping mechanism, and also the friction or attrition mechanism. Okay, so in this case, I repeat again, this mechanism appears simultaneously during the milling process, and this mechanism will involve a different part of the location inside the tumbler during the milling process. So therefore, you must understand this clearly. Okay, so this one, the crushing, just the explanation, I think I no need to cover this because you can read through my slide. Okay, it's easy to understand because I already give you simple analogy during my previous explanation. Okay, for impact and crushing, what is the difference between impact and crushing? You must understand how to explain it, and you must understand also how to draw the schematic diagram. Okay, the chipping, okay, you can see the difference between impact and chipping, the direction of the force applied on the ceramics particles or powder. And you can see the impacts mechanism and crushing mechanism, the force applied is about perpendicular to the ceramic powder. Meanwhile, for chipping, the force that we apply is something like a certain degree of angle. And for friction and attrition, they will come horizontally at opposite direction. Okay, so that's all for the topic about the ball milling media and mechanism. And again, if you have any question related to this section, okay, please leave your comment in the link given to you here. Okay, you must if you don't understand, you can text me, even you can Skype me, or you can also use other kind of platform to communicate with me. If you don't understand well what I try explain to you and you didn't understand what I put in my lecture notes. Okay, so that's second topic for my introduction of milling. So please stay with me. I will come up with a new video and about the other topics in introduction of milling process. Thank you.